How did you end up being a PhD researcher now at the University of Wisconsin-Madison? Tell me.
So I kind of had a little bit of a roundabout path. So I originally wanted to be a high school chemistry teacher. And in fact, I've taught high school kind of as part of my minor when I was doing my undergraduate studies. But then I remembered that I had done some research actually in high school. And this was part of the Welch program. It's like a Texas program because I'm from Texas. And they send high schoolers into university labs to do like a research program. And so I was at UT Austin under the mentorship of Professor Lauren Webb and Dr. Annette Raigoza. And that was my first taste of academic research. And I was in the lab, like trying to bind these peptides to a surface in like one-step reaction. And I didn't exactly know what was going on, but it was like very interesting. So I was like, let me try this again in college. And so there I started my work in intermetallics. I was working in Professor Jacoa Bergoch's lab with Anton Olenek, Arya Mansouri Tarani, and now both of those mentors are professors. I was synthesizing crystals, so taking metal powders and then mixing them together and then arc melting them, which is kind of like shooting a beam of lightning at those metal powders just to instantly melt them together. Or I could do flux synthesis where I take these metals and some of those metals are liquefied and then you slowly cool it down so those crystals have a chance to grow. Doing synthesis was really fun, but I did have my samples blow up a couple of times. So Jacoa, who was the PI, he was like, hey, why don't you try some computations? And turns out I really like doing computations. I like working with computers. And from then since, I've only been a computational chemist and like sat down, ran computations, and, look at my coworkers' pretty crystals and compliment them on it.
Oh, wow. Okay. That is quite interesting. So those outreach programs to get high school students or graduate students into the labs, they actually do pay off. At least in your case, it did pay off. And also finding your way, because this is a question I always like. I'm always wondering, because I used to be an experimental material or nanoscientist. So for me, it's sitting in front of the computer. And it's not for me. I can't imagine doing that. I need to go in the lab. I need to produce samples. I need to do the measurements, like tweaking and all of that. But it's good to know you already answered my question about you tried and there were some incidences. Let's call them that, not explosions. Haters will call them explosions. But that's quite interesting. So do you miss the times when the samples actually did not explode in the lab? Do you miss that part?
I do. So I do miss result in getting the pretty crystals. I have those photos saved of like my crystals. But then I also look back, I did not like programming the furnace. I did not like, spending many minutes like weighing out the powders. And so even though I have some nostalgic memories about doing experiments, and maybe one day I would love to go back and do some experiments, I still think my heart is more with computational chemistry.
Okay. Is that what you are telling me, or is this something that you're telling yourself that let's not explode any more samples? Let's just be happy with. I'm kidding, of course. That's interesting. That's fascinating. Yeah, it's also fun, right? Because you do the computation, you are predicting the future, so to say, or predicting a version of the future. Let's put it that way. And then your colleagues or your collaborators are going and doing the actual work of tweaking.
They're realizing my dream.
Exactly. They're realizing your dream, and you still get to take a picture of that dream through the microscope lens with your phone. So it works. It goes hand in hand. I hope you enjoyed this snippet. You can listen to the full episode by following the link in the show notes. And if you are not following Under the Microscope already, please make sure to hit that follow button. It's absolutely for free, and it helps us grow the podcast even more. Thank you very much as always, and see you in the next one.